Hello, hello! David Snowpack here from Snowpack Games. Welcome to the stream. How is everybody doing? Who is out there? Say something in the chat so I know that you're there. So I know that I'm not all alone talking to the wall of my office. I am doing pretty good. Ooh, Askyak! Welcome to the stream! It's been a while since you've been on, or at least since you've been on and said something, I guess. Because I don't know what happens if nobody says anything. Yeah, so I've been pretty good. I'm pretty tired today. But otherwise good. It's Friday. Friday is good. It means rest is theoretically coming. Yeah. What has been going on? Oh, I got a headset donated from HTC. One of these XR Elite donated generously from HTC to the Godot project for us to try and improve support for their headsets. So that's cool. I haven't had a chance to use it for much. I basically just got it set up and deployed a Godot project to it to see like, hey, I put a Godot thing on it, but I think I set it up day before yesterday. So I haven't had a chance to do much with it yet. Only catch if I don't have anything else on Friday evening, which is not very often. Understandable. You know, why do I do these on Friday? I guess because like by Friday my brain isn't working quite as well as usual. And it's better than wasting my prime fresh brain from Monday. But yeah, it is not a great day, especially for especially for people in Europe where, you know, this is when they'd be getting off work and going to do something fun or with family or, you know, things like that. Yeah. Time zones. They're the worst. Anyway, how is everybody else doing? Only Askyak has spoken up. I don't know how anyone else's projects are going. I feel like I haven't heard about your guys' projects in a long time. Yeah, how's that? Ooh, you're real sick, Askyak? That sucks. I was real sick. Hey, Ricardo, welcome to stream. I was real sick during GDC, unfortunately. It was like the worst timing ever. My daughter had gotten sick the weekend before GDC, and actually was like off school on that Monday because like she was so sick or whatever. And then like when I got close to Friday, Saturday when I was traveling, I was like, oh, I can feel this coming on. I can feel it coming on. And then yeah, like by Tuesday of GDC week, I was feeling horrible. I was in horrible shape. Ended up wearing a mask and trying to steer clear of everyone. And oh man, being sick sucks. Being sick is terrible. I hope you feel better soon. All right, well, if no one else is going to say what up and tell me how your projects are going, I'm going to start talking about my project, which there's a small problem in that I noticed as I was setting up for the stream, and I don't know when this started or what the heck is happening. You guys can help me try and debug it. So we made these lights on the last stream, right? And I added this shader, which is totally unnecessary to be a shader. I could probably make a texture for it, but I don't know. It just was easier for me to think through how to make a texture to make it appear as though the light is turned on. So now I have this thing here, and there's separate textures for each of the colored lights. Wait, I'm in the wrong. Here we go. Go to the yellow. There the yellow ones go. And the red one, I think, is off because I have it animated with this animation player. The idea is when you get down to 1 health, I want it to blink at you. So anyway, we made that last time, and I think it turned out real nice. You know, we modeled this, we textured it. The light on and off thing, I think, gets like basically the exact right vibe I want. But for some reason, and I don't know what the heck is going on, the first light is wrong. It has the wrong material. So like I turned this is the health light green material, which is shared between both of these nodes. So I'm on this node and it's the health light green material, the second node, health light green material, yet for some reason only the first one or only the second one is responding to my changes. I don't know what the heck that's about. I mean, I'll try restarting Godot because that sometimes helps for fun. But like, I I restarted a couple times earlier and it didn't seem to help, and it's not helping here. And when I go into the game, it also has the problem, which is really strange. I have no idea what the heck could be causing that. Oh, what is this? Health Lighter Ridge? That shouldn't be here. I think that's it. That's totally it. Did anyone see that before me? Yeah, making a whole shader is very funny. So I am not an artist, and I'm also not very familiar with the art tools such as Blender. I'm like passably dangerous in Blender. I made you guys suffer through watching me use Blender last time, and I mean, we did the thing. You guys gave me some cool advice, and that was awesome. But yeah, what I should have done, and I'm learning this in retrospect, I should have made the shader in Blender and then baked it to a texture. Like, that seems like what an artist would do. What would an artist do? Like, someone should have bracelets for that. They will give them out to programmers. Okay, so it looks like I exported this while accidentally having my Health Writer Ridge object visible here, which we ended up using, like applying our modifiers and having it here. So I think that's what's going on. Let me go export to GLTF and find the dialog. Dialog, come on, get over here. Thank you. And we are going to export GLTF. Let's make sure we have all the right stuff here. So we want visible objects. We want mesh apply modifiers, because there are a couple modifiers we didn't apply manually. And I think that is it. What is this? Remember export settings. Yes. Yes. Why don't I always have that checked? Okay. Export to GLTF. And now we go back here. They're beautiful. Our lights are beautiful. And we can turn them on and off. Okay, cool. Ricardo says, hey, you made this in Blender. That means you're an artist. You know, that's funny because, like, I say that basic same thing to people in lots of other scenarios where it's like, you know, I'm not a programmer. Like, well, you programmed that whole game. Like, how are you not a programmer? You're a programmer. Or like, people will create this weird division between themselves and an open source project. For example, the Godot team, like, why doesn't the Godot team do this? I made an issue and I created a PR. And I'm like, you made an issue and created a PR. You are part of the Godot team. There isn't this separation between you and anyway. But yeah, for some reason, when I'm trying to turn that back on myself, for art feels wrong. I do make art sometimes, but I don't think I'm an artist. I mean, at least not in that way. My art is my programming, and my art is my I don't know, holistic game here, but like the actual twiddle-madoos, it just feels wrong to say that. Anyway, I don't know. You're probably right though, because like I do that exact same like rhetorical turn on other people in other situations. Anyway, so yeah, maybe we could try and do the thing that I should have done and like rework this shader in it as a material in Blender, and then, you know, export the baked texture as a way to like learn me some Blender. That's a possibility. It's up to you guys, honestly. Like I've said before, I'm very suggestible, and I have taken audience suggestions for what we should do on stream and done a complete 90-degree turn in the past. If you want to watch like a million hours of old streams, you can totally see that that's a thing that has happened. But otherwise, I was thinking that we could work on potentially adding the last piece of the dashboard, which I guess would be more Blender stuff, or we could make the plane explode when the health goes down. What I was thinking was We have the player stay in the same spot because having the player fall out of the sky and explode would probably be uncomfortable in VR. But we have the player stay in the same spot and have the plane like go down in a spiral and then like explode, and then we'll like put a parachute on the player or something like that. So you get to stay in one spot and your plane goes and explodes and you get to watch it. If that is still uncomfortable, we can rather than the parachute thing, we could zoom out so that you're now watching like a little toy plane spinning off and crashing into the ground. That might not make people sick if the other does make people sick. So that's something we could experiment with. Let's look at my to-do list. I have a to-do list. Oh, this site, man. So I would love some advice about this site as well. One of the most requested features from people who have playtested the game is that they want a sight. They want some sort of aiming reticle or something to see where they're shooting. And I figured, okay, yeah, let's do that. Let's look at 1920s biplanes, because that's what the plane is supposed to be inspired by. And let's look at what kind of gun sights they had. Here's one. Here's another one that's sort of like on its side, but the same kind of design. All right, let me slap one of those on the plane, which you can see up here. And it's very uncomfortable to use. In VR, and I guess I'll try to show you, but you can't really see. Looking through the sight with your binocular vision means that you'll see two of them. They'll split. And the only way to see one of them while aiming through it is to close one eye. And I spent a little time researching this, and it turns out that that's what happens for real in a real biplane when you're trying to use one of these sights. I found forums of people talking about what it's like to use a sight like this in real life, and you see two of them, and you have to learn to look through the sight and focus on the one that's like coming from your dominant eye, and it's like a whole learning process that like fighter pilots would have to do. And I don't know if people playing games are going to want to do that. Like, it seems like it's realistic, but it feels bad, I guess is what I'm saying, and I wasn't really expecting that. Ooh, some comments. Acecac says, I hate it when people say they can't do a thing like sing, dance, draw, design, because the division between if you can't do it professionally, you can't do it at all is such a synonym of being mind melted by capitalism. Ooh, we are all being mind melted by capitalism. I also like the idea of a mind melt. It makes me think like my mind is made out of metal or something, and like capitalism's just making it just melt away. The parachute option seems good. Yeah, it sounds cool. Like I like the feeling of it. What kind of iron sights do other VR games use? I was gonna say that sounds just like using real iron sights. Yeah, that's something we should research. I play a lot of like shooter games in VR. Maybe not a lot, but I play a bunch of shooter games in VR, and they have sights on the gun, and for whatever reason, that feels very natural to me. Like, I don't have any problem using the real sight on the gun. I don't know if it's because like I'm able to position my arm myself, whereas this like it is where it is. That's another thing. The sight is in a particular position where it will either work or not work depending on how tall you are, which also sucks. Like, so where I put it on the plane here, I have to slightly slouch, and then the sight is perfectly lined up for me. And that also will be a problem beyond like the seeing double thing. We'll have to have some way for players to readjust it for their height. I don't know. I have a feeling the only comfortable thing here will be making a completely virtual sight, like something that floats out in the world, totally unrealistic, like just an aiming reticle that will like move around on top of the player's view. I don't like that though. Like I'm so into the idea of we're putting these gauges in here, and like it seems like what you're doing is so old-timey. So I don't know. This is one of those things that I think I'm going to have to come up with a couple of options and then play test. But yeah, the idea that you had about seeing what other games do for this is also a good idea. The thing is, flight simulator type games would probably be like, yeah, that's just how the sites work. Like, you're playing a simulator, we're simulating, it's real. And arcade games, I guess, would probably just put the floating virtual thing. I don't know. When you pretended to use the iron sights on the gun in MIME for a second, you automatically closed one eye. Yeah, maybe I am actually closing one of my eyes when I'm aiming through gun sights in games and I don't even know I'm doing it. Maybe it's like subconscious or something. I don't know. I just like my daughters are one of my main playtesters of this game, and they're gonna just if they try to use this sight, there's like the sight doesn't work. Like, well, okay, you have to like be a little taller slightly, and you have to maybe close an eye or like get used to this seeing double thing, or I don't know. Anyway, I'm definitely yeah. The thing is, once we're adjusting for height, we have that creates like a whole bunch of other problems. Like, how do we let the player know that we're able to adjust for height? Because I could imagine, like, okay, we add this height adjustment option, and nobody knows that it's there, and so it just feels crummy. Like we want, we don't want it necessarily to move up and down automatically when you're bobbing your head, because that would feel wrong. But we don't necessarily want to hide it behind some button or something to make it super hard to find. So finding a balance there also sounds super hard, which again, like just sort of biases me against like, maybe we don't do this. Maybe we come up with something else to do. So I don't know. That's one challenge. So we could work on that. We could try and solve this problem by fiddling with things and trying some different stuff. I don't know. What do you guys want to work on? What were the options there? It was like build another thing for the cockpit, fix the sight, make the plane explode. Make the plane explode is probably the thing that would allow us to be in Godot the most often, which will make me the most comfortable. Reset player to head height, where you want it on launch with a reset button for people who want to change the real physical position. That's a possibility. I guess we need to pick the point where we trigger the measurement for height very carefully. So like, for example, my daughters and me also to some degree, when I'm starting a VR game, I'm usually sitting on the floor. But when I'm playing the VR game, I'm usually standing. So I launch the VR game when I'm sitting on the floor, and then once it gets into gameplay, I stand up. So we'd need to pick the right place to actually do the measurement. Some games where they do a height measurement thing, they'll like completely call it out and like say, okay, yeah, get to your position and then hold this button. And so that's a possibility. So that like when the game starts up, we say, put up a screen and say, sit at a comfortable position where you're going to play the game or whatever you're going to do, and then hold this button, and then, okay, now we've measured your height and we've placed the sight. That's probably the best way to do that. And then also there is on the controller, like the way that you reset your space when you like turn to a different direction. Okay, I want this way to be forward now. You like hold a button and it resets your space. And we could also remeasure height in that situation. Yeah, that's probably the way to do it. Reset the player. Yeah. How does the shooting look currently? Maybe some bullet trails would be enough to get yourself oriented. Yeah, so there are bullet trails. Actually, so we've been talking for a long time, and I don't know how many people here have ever been on my stream before and may have never ever seen this game. So let's actually launch the game, and I can show it. And oh, Godot crashed. Yes, thank you. Let's relaunch Godot. Godot 4 editor. And let's actually look around this game. So there are bullet trails. You totally can, because there's no ammo or anything, you totally can just keep shooting the gun and use that to orient yourself. And that's what I've told people who are playtesting the game. They're like, this really needs a sight. I'm like, well, just keep shooting. That'll tell you where your bullets are going. But yeah, let's get into the game. All right, I'm gonna launch it to the headset. I'm going to find where the heck I put the window that I was casting to. Oh wait, it's back here. Let's break this one out. I am not already casting to another window. You're a liar, Oculus.com. Okay. Oop. Cast to computer. Next. All right. Should come in a moment. Come on. There we go. All right. So we have our beautiful buttons down here. I just want to get a little close-up look because they do look really nice. Like you can sort of see the lines that we painted on them, but they look illuminated with like that bright part in the center. And then once some of them are turned off, it looks even better. So we'll get ourselves damaged in a moment. But yeah, if you shoot, there is a bullet trail that lasts for a little while. And so if I sit like this, the sights are lined up for me. Still isn't the easiest to aim, even with the sight. I think I maybe have too big of a dead zone on the flight stick, which makes it hard to do fine aiming at a distance. I may need to loosen up that dead zone a little bit. Sure. Blow these guys up. All right, the next wave of aliens can actually attack us. So then we'll get to see our health lights go down. I don't know if you guys noticed the altimeter there. Works. Not very useful, but it does work. Oh, I don't want to kill too many of them because I want them to shoot me. Come on, guys, come shoot me. I don't know why I dodged that. I'll get hit by the next one. There we go. So the lights as they come turned off, and here's the red blinking one. Worked perfectly. I actually had some trouble with that earlier in the week when I was working on this. So anyway, I mean, that's the game as it is now. And then now our health goes down to 0. I have this plane shake, which will definitely have to be a settings screen option because I don't know how many people will be okay with that. Sickness-wise, honestly, I have pretty bad VR sickness, and it's fine for me. I think because the background stays stable, it's okay. I don't know, but still should be an option. All right. I think I was trying to solve the iron sights or the parachute crash situation. Both sound fun. Cool. I don't think the artificial reticle would be too intrusive if you keep it minimal. Yeah, I mean, if people don't think about it very hard and just like, I'm playing a video game, so things happen, that would be good. If it were to stand out like and seem super modern, then that would be a problem. All right, I need this volume is way too loud here. Let's turn this down. The body takes up so much of your view, which I think was a real issue historically as well. Some of the configurations I've seen for vintage veteran planes have no idea how the pilots could see anything at all. Yeah, you know, the plane covering up so much of the view, I think, also helps with motion sickness in this way. I just lost the controller. It's kind of like a built-in vignette. Like, you know, in VR games, when you're moving, they'll shrink your field of view to prevent VR sickness. And in here, we just have this shrunk field of view automatically because the whole plane's in the way. But yeah, that's another problem with the site. So if you tried to ignore the site, if you're going to say like, oh, this site is lame, I'm just not going to use it, it's now like totally in the way. I can't aim down. Yeah, that dead zone is too much. Like I just want to make a tiny little adjustment. Yeah, I have to move my hand further than I think I need to. I trust players to know that they're playing a video game when they do that activity. Yeah. So here's what I think. Let's work on. Let's do those two things. Let's work on the aiming reticle, and let's work on the or reticle or sight. But I think we may be leaning to building a reticle to at least experience what that's like. And the plane exploding. Uh, unless anyone objects, I think making the plane explode sounds like a lot of fun. We can try a couple of variations on that. I think the first one that I want to try is just having the plane, spin off away underneath you, keeping the player in the same spot to do the parachute thing. And then once we try it, we can see if that's uncomfortable or not. And then I'll play test it with some people too and see if they find it uncomfortable. I'm at a studio where there's been this traditional overfocus on verisimilitude. So me coming into a lead role and I'm like, okay, we're making a game, not just a world to run around in. Yeah, that is a good perspective. That is a good perspective to have. All right. So before we make this plane explode, I would like to make it easy to make the plane explode. Let's make a test level where we just have an alien in front of us that just shoots us a bunch. That'll help me with testing the health lights and all of that stuff too. Rather than using this like super complicated test level, which was created to test the AI. So I'm just gonna turn that off. The noise is too annoying. Where are all my levels? Is it in source levels? Here we go. Test player avoidance. Let's make a new test level. Let's maybe take the player avoidance test. We'll call this health test. I think the player avoidance level just has an enemy that flies straight at you over and over again. So let's take a look at this. So we have these behavior trees. Let's rename the top level node. We'll say health test. And we have a spawner, which is placed somewhere. I don't see it. Where are you, spawner? Where are you? Oh, I forgot we have to be 1,000 meters in the sky. Okay, that's why I couldn't see it. Let's get a over top view thing going here. I need to adjust the near and far planes here. Huh. Still feels weird. Like, where is the origin? Or is this at the origin? No, it's at negative 500 meters. Okay, let's go back to the beginning here. I'm so lost. Here's the origin. And then enemy spawner is over there. And can I see these without everything turning white? That's what I want to know. I guess not. Does everything have to turn white? I don't like it. I don't like everything turning white. Well, I don't know. I don't know what that's about. Could there be like a plane-shaped blob shadow projected in front of you instead of a reticle? I'm not sure it would be very visible at a distance. Working on the death screen effect sounds good. So I'm not sure what you mean by blob shadow projected in front of you. Godot, yes. Welcome, David Rodriguez Skit. We are using Godot 4.2.1 to make this lovely Galaga-inspired VR game. I would worry about having detail like making it a plane shape because that would draw attention to it, generally a cross or a circle or a dot. Yeah, I was thinking as if there's a light behind the plane. That's an interesting idea. So then, yeah, you would see a silhouette from, behind of a plane. That's interesting, but I don't know. I think I would definitely first try like a circle kind of thing. And what I was imagining was, I mean, it doesn't matter what distance it really is at, just putting it at some place that the circle is kind of visible. At least this is what I was imagining. There's a 100 ways to do this, but I was imagining, just placing the circle somewhere where it's a good, nice, visible size, and then like disabling the depth test, and it will always sit over everything, which actually that could present a problem now that I'm thinking about it. We don't want it to appear over parts of the plane. Although, would it? Would it ever appear over parts of the plane? Maybe it would be okay because it would always be in front of us. It couldn't appear over parts of the plane. I don't know. We'll experiment with that. I'm working on a VR game. It's kind of inspired by Galaga. The sort of mental design idea was, could we make Galaga in VR? Except rather than being in space, we're in this 1920s biplane. All right. Anyway, so we're going to spawn some enemies, or maybe we don't even need to spawn some enemies. We just need a single enemy. Who will shoot at us for a while. So how should we do that? So usually we spawn an enemy and we put this behavior tree on it, but we could, in fact, just create the enemy itself. And then we'll put it at the same location that spawner was at, which was 1,000 meters in the sky and 500 meters in front of us. And then we would just attach a behavior tree to it. We can copy this behavior tree up here. And rather than doing the sequence of pursuing the player and then waiting and shooting a projectile, we are going to simply wait and shoot a projectile. Let's drag this up to the top of the behavior tree and delete everything else. I guess it fell down here. So let's delete this one. BT sequence. We'll get rid of the enemy spawner. We have this root scene, which we don't need. Or should we keep the spawner so I can kill the enemy? No, this is fine. We can get rid of this grid formation. All right, so theoretically, this should every 1 second shoot a projectile. Is it going to aim at the player though? I think I need to add another behavior tree action for it to actually aim at you. Let's try running this. We'll run it not in VR just to see what we got. Nope. Hang on, I have to actually switch to this level. So let's delete level 01 here. And we're going to add test, health test. I should probably call it health test level. And let's see. All right, there is an enemy. It is facing in the wrong direction. Let's go see what we can do here. Health test. So I think we need to add a BT parallel. This tells our behavior tree that we want the enemy to do 2 things at once. And those 2 things will be waiting and shooting. And I guess we do a BT action. And then we attach one of our custom action scripts. Pursue player, seek point, select point, wait, follow path, despawn. So we have an aim at player action, but it's specifically for formations. Let's go look at how this one works just to see what it's like. Okay. So, yeah, this this won't work exactly as it is because it's looping over the enemies in the formation, but we can copy it and change it. So let's duplicate you. Actually, no, we'll copy paste it. Copy paste it into here. Aim at player action, and we just have to make some small changes. This one is attempting to lead its shots. So if it sees the player moving this way, it'll say, okay, how fast are they going, and try to lead its shot. So it'll hit them where they're moving to, rather than just firing straight at them. We don't need that, at least not for now. So calculate the number of seconds for particular extrapolate. Blah, blah, blah. Let's just do the simplest thing possible. And calculate aim vector. We'll just get the player's position. How do we get the player's position? That's plain global position. And we will subtract the enemy position and normalize it and call it a day. And then up here, we don't need this loop. We just need to do aim vector, and then instead of p enemy, we have p actor. P actor. Actor. All right, so we just get the straight vector to the player, and then here we're lerping our rotation, so we're not just immediately moving to that rotation. It's taking it's smoothing out the motion a little bit. We can get rid of this aiming iterations thing. And this projectile speed. Okay, so let's go back to our game, and let's change the script to this new script that we just made. Aim at player action. Yes, this is what we want. Thank you for jumping us there for no reason. All right, what is this saying? Composite node must have children of BT node. I mean, it does. Extends BT action. What are you complaining at me about, Godot? Actions aim at player action. Extends BT action. Ah, okay, I just have a syntax error that was preventing the script from loading. Okay, or not a syntax error, but an error, an issue. Now will you work? Well, oh, and we have to tell the root which node it's manipulating, so the enemy. All right. Ooh, there's more stuff going on in chat. Howdy, nice topic. Oh, Salary Cat, welcome to the stream. Besides VR, as an adjacent question, do you know if it's possible for Godot to create AR for iOS ARKit or Android's AR Core? So Godot has less mature support for AR than it does for VR, but there is a plugin for iOS's ARKit. I don't do iOS development, so I don't really know if it's any good. And then Patrick Flame Lizard, he has been slowly putting together support for AR Core for Android, but I don't think anything is finished for that yet. So yeah, for iOS, something exists. I don't know how good it is. Android, you have to wait a little bit. I hope that's helpful. All right, still not working. We getting any errors? Bugger, nothing. You are welcome, Salary Cat. Enemy is here. This is attached. Oh, enabled. Let's enable you. All right. Cannot call get instance ID on null value. Interesting. Maybe let's relaunch this rather than... Nope, we still get the same thing. Non-existent function get active handles. Oh, okay, so we had this check up here to see if anything was in our formation. Something I forgot to delete when I copy-pasted that. Ooh, that's interesting. It's none of the materials. Oh, here we go, and it's going to shoot at us. Beautiful. And we get hit, and it shakes, and those things go down. All right. Whew. Sorry that took so long to do something so simple, guys. Let me just really quick add the new stuff that we created to Git. What changes did I make to the to-do? Oh, add a seat. Yes. Let's... oh, we made those small fixes to our biplane. And I guess we made some changes somewhere to the player plane scene. What did we change there? Okay, for some reason just reordered the lights, probably because we removed those objects that weren't supposed to be actually exported. So let's add that. I don't think I want to commit the changes to main because that's switching which test level we're using, and I'm just going to leave that as is. What changes would happen to BT root? Oh, interesting. It redid the tabs. All right, we don't need to do that. Let's remove those. We don't need to change spaces to tabs or tabs to spaces or whatever it did there. And we need to add these new... this new script and this new scene. And then we can commit these before we start doing any real work here. And we're going to say fixed health lights and started on health test level. All right. So now we need to make our plane explode. Let's go look at the code for our plane. Where are we doing our health? Update health lights. Oh, here we go. On hurt area damage. Here's where we add the impact shake, reduce our HP, and update the lights. So somewhere in here, we will initiate our death sequence. So probably we are going to need a flag to signify if we are dead or not. Because a lot of the input and stuff needs to just stop working once we are dead. So everything in here, this is looking at the flight stick, figuring out how to update our transform, updating our velocity. Do we have a thing for velocity? Oh, that must be velocity moving on. Yeah, okay. Clamping to this artificial sort of box that we're in. Oh, changing the sound effects, all this stuff. So we need to not have this happen at all when we are dead. So if dead, return. And we're probably going to also need to disable the trigger pulling on the gun. Because even if we make the plane fall away, if the player hasn't released the grip, the game will probably still consider them as holding it. And then pressing the trigger would shoot the gun. Another option for this is having some sort of code that would say like if your hand gets a certain distance away from the flight stick, like you automatically let go. But that sounds just a little too fancy. We will instead just say if dead, return. And actually, ooh, what if they're actively holding the trigger when the plane starts going down? We don't want it to just keep shooting because they were holding it at the time, although that would look kind of cool. We're not going to do that. We need to do something to just automatically release the trigger when we die. I guess we can put that in here. So update health lights, and then we say if HP equals 0, we're going to initiate our death. So dead equals true. And we're going to say gun release trigger. And it doesn't really do anything with the controller. We'll just pass null. Actually, we might need to do a little more than this. Because you want to still be able to see your hands when the plane is falling, and if you're holding on to the flight stick, your hand might stay on the flight stick. In fact, I think that your hand will stay on the flight stick. So how do we force the player to release the flight stick? Let's see. On grab area release is grabbed by... Okay, so perhaps what we need to do is check if the flight stick is grabbed. We'll say if a flight stick is grabbed, then we will say flight stick release. We can call this on grab area released. Yeah, I guess we'll directly call this. Good morning, Logan. How's it going? Are you still working on the arrow shooting VR game, or did you is that totally done, shipped in over? Flight stick grabbed by. Okay, so what I think this is going to do is force the player to have released the flight stick, which I think should release the controller, and you should be able to still see your hands in front of you and everything. And what I want to happen ultimately is for the plane to kind of like move forward and spiral down. But for now, let's do the simplest thing we can do. What would that be? I guess just have the plane fall. So let's say if dead, we would just what would we do? I guess take the global position y minus equals we want it to fall, I don't know, 10 meters a second, something like that. It's done for the jam, at least waiting on one last person to complete the jam project, then we'll make the recordings and start video editing. I may expand the project slightly further after that. Cool. Yeah, I'm excited to see the video. Logan is working on a video with a bunch of other game developers making games with the same art pack, with some people you probably know. I don't know if I should reveal it. I don't know how. Has your project been revealed, Logan? Yeah, it looks really cool. Logan made a VR game. I played it. It was fun. All right, let's just try this. So we're gonna sit here and get shot a couple of times. And then the plane is falling, but we're falling with it. All right, so we need to detach the player from the plane. How are we going to do that? So how is the player attached to the plane? That's the first question. Okay, so out here in the main scene, we're placing the Nexar origin and this stuff inside the plane. So I guess what we'll need is a signal that will fire when the plane is done, when it's going into its death, which the main script can react to and detach the XR origin from the plane. Yeah. So let's do that. Let's define a signal on our plane. Are there any other signals on here yet? No. I guess the plane script has been responsible for pretty much everything. So I'll say signal dead, died, exploding. What's a good name for the signal? Ejected, because the player's being ejected. Player dead. I don't know. Unless anyone has anything better, I'm going to go with player dead as the signal name. And then here, go to our player dead signal. We will on plane player dead. That sounds fine. And do we have the XR origin grabbed? We do not. We stored in game state though. That's interesting. Yeah, let's just do it this way. So we'll say var XR origin equals XR origin. And then we're going to say, man, I like having nice variables. So I may change this. I'm going to say, so right here, we're storing these in game state, so like the enemies can refer to them and things like that. But I'm going to do onReady var XR origin 3D equals XR origin. So we can just have these nice variables that have the right type on them. It's just a pattern I like to do. And are we referring to them anywhere else? Origin? Nope, just down here. Okay. So if XR origin get parent equals plane, then we're going to say plane remove child XR origin, and then how does our scene look? I guess we're just going to add it to the main scene, and I think we're going to need to stash its position before we do this, its global position. So we'll say original position equals XR origin global transform. Or no, we just need the position itself. We don't want to. I'm actually not sure about that. Let's take the global transform. So we'll say original transform. And then we are going to add child XR origin, and then XR origin global transform equals original transform. All right, so this should detach the player from the plane. when they die. See our health lights, our plane shake working. And we appear to still not be detached. Oh, did I forget to emit the signal? I think I forgot to emit the signal. Player dead, emit signal. Oh, it's not emit signal, it's just emit. Emit. I don't know why that would have gotten called again, though. Or maybe that was just because it was processing the script that we got this this error come up. Logan says the hit sound effect and the plane shake are pretty satisfying. Thanks, Logan. Whoa, there we go. The plane fell away. And the enemy's still shooting at the plane. All right, let's see how amazing or terrible this is in VR. We'll see if the casting starts up. There's supposed to be an update to the Quest system software where if you take the headset off or the headset turns off, that the casting stays going, which is amazing if that actually works. Because like if you're doing like a VR party where like you're casting, you know, the VR screen and like taking turns, you don't have to reset up casting every time. Or if you're like showing your game at a conference like we were doing at GDC, that also would be very, very helpful. So yeah, I'm excited to try that. I don't know if my headset's received the update yet. Meta does this thing where they like do rolling updates. So they release it, but then everyone kind of gets it on a random pace that could take several weeks. So, all right. Let's get in here. And it is not casting. Ooh, there went the plane. We'll hit reload here. Are you going to cast? All right. All right, I'm hanging here up in the air, and there's my plane way down there. The enemy's shooting at it. Let's start this from the beginning, so you guys can see it with me, and I can really pay attention to it too. All right, so Godot should be. It looks kind of cool seeing it like underneath the clouds, like where the clouds kind of break every once in a while, and I see the plane there. All right, so Godot should be deploying. I'm not entirely sure. Oop, here it comes. You guys get to see my messy desk. Sorry about that. All right. There goes our health lights. Ready for it? Whoa! Honestly, I'm going to say this is fine. I mean, I'll need to play test it with some other people, but that does not feel disorienting. Yeah. The plane falling away seems really cool. So the next thing we need to do is we need to animate it, make it move forward. I think we could do this really, really simply. We can just set like a, we can apply a certain amount of roll every single frame and just push it forward. I don't think we need to do anything fancy with like tweens or anything like that. Hey, John Smith, welcome to the stream. Never done VR in Godot before. This looks pretty cool. Yeah, VR in Godot is pretty simple. I mean, Godot is well known for being relatively easy to learn and easy to get started, and I think that's true for VR as well. All right, so we need it to fall. We need it to fall faster than this. We also need it to move forward. So let's do global position Z. Which direction are we facing? We are facing Z minus. So we're going to subtract from Z, probably faster than we're falling. Let's maybe say 50 meters per second. So it should send us down at an angle. And then we need to spin. And so the way to do that would be global transform basis equals global, or we don't need to do this globally. Why am I doing this globally? Let's give Godot a break. Let it do some simpler math and do that. So then we just need transform basis equal transform, not transform. Transform basis rotated, and thank you tooltip. I didn't remember the order of those arguments. So we're going to do the x-axis. We're going to rotate around, or no, not the x-axis. That would be this way. Just rotate around the z-axis. And let's just pick an amount. So if we say 2 pi is a full rotation, we want to rotate fully every second. We could try that. So tau, which is also 2 pi, times p delta. So that would be we rotate completely around every second. And then we return because the dead stuff is totally separate from the movement, the normal movement. So let's just try this, not going into VR, just because that's easier, quicker. Ah! I love it already. All right, let's try it in VR. I need to know. I need to know. All right, so here is the casting. Let's deploy it. That alien's still shooting at my plane that I can barely see down there. I'm just waiting for Godot to deploy to the headset again. Yeah, there it is. All right. Get ready for it. oh, that's great. That is great. oh my god. I think it might start a little abruptly. Like, I think what we'll need in the game is to delay for a second before we immediately send the plane down. We'll need a sound effect for like the ejection seat. To you know, because the player won't necessarily know to look up and see this parachute that we're going to put. So we'll need a nice sound effect there. And we need to have it explode after a little while. So let's start by making it explode. That will be the first thing. Ricardo, this is great. Logan, incredible. This is great. I love it. All right, so to do this, how are we going to do it? We need to, so we're immediately dead, but we don't immediately want to break away. How to put that delay in? Dead can be a process. Dead can be an enum that we go through like a really simple state machine. That is one option. We could do a bunch of stuff with a bunch of timers. That would also work. We would start like a dying timer and then an exploding timer. I think I kind of like the idea of death being a process, being a state machine. It makes some things a little bit manual, but I don't think that's a problem. Or we could have this directed by an animation player. We could start an animation that fires a bunch of different functions at different points that would allow us to kind of put it on a timeline. That would also potentially allow us to bake these things into the animation player, although I don't know if that's worth doing. Yeah, I guess in a way, death is a process. Yeah, it's tricky to decide how to do this because there isn't any pre-existing state machine type stuff going on here. Okay, so let's make dead be an enum. How are we updating the enum? Are we going to do it just like by physics ticks, which we can do, or are we going to do some timers? All right, let's start with making an enum, and then I guess the enum should probably be, I don't know, life state, where we default to alive, and then we have dying. So we're our HP has gone to 0. We're dying, and now we are, or maybe better to do it like this. Maybe alive, dead, falling, exploded. Does that make sense? Life state equals life state alive. Let's find everywhere we used the dead variable. And so then here we would say if life state equals life state falling, we do this. And then in any case, we need to say if life state does not equal life state alive, return. And then when we die here, actually, we probably don't need this one anymore because we did the thing where we forcibly, disconnect the, forcibly let go of the flight stick. Although maybe we do, because if we're going to stay in the plane for a second before we're truly dead, how to simulate that? So we maybe do want to let the player mess with the flight stick before they die. So we go below 0, we're going to give it a second. Play a sound effect or something. And then when they're falling is when we need to let go of the flight stick. Okay, so life state equals life state dead. We're going to immediately, well, no, we don't need to do this quite yet. Then let's do a timer. We'll go to plane. I'm going to make a timer. We have no timers on plane so far. I usually end up creating just a ton of timers. Okay, so this is, we'll say death timer. We also need a fall timer. Or should that be fall timer and explode timer? Well, no, we probably need a explode timer too. We need to know when this is all done, so we can restart the game. So maybe we need another state. Okay, so Alive, dead, falling, exploding, done. Game over. And then maybe we need player life state changed. This is starting to feel like I should have a state machine for it, but it's just death. It's just, we'll only need a state machine for death. Okay, so life state. We're going to say player life state changed, emit life state, and then we're going to start our timer. What timers did we decide on here? So we have a death timer, fall timer, and an explode timer. So let's say we stay dead for about a second. One shot. Physics. And we fall for, I don't know, 3 seconds. One shot. Physics. And we explode for, I don't know, 5 seconds. It's kind of nice to let it settle, you know? Physics. One shot. All right. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to start our death timer. Death timer. Start. And let's connect to all of these signals. So our death timer, our fall timer, and our explode timer. All right. And our death timer, when it is up, then we change our... Wait, what? I feel like I lost some code or something here. What happened? Let's just undo for a little while here. Yeah. Godot's doing this thing it does sometimes where the editor overwrites some changes I'm making externally. Let's see if it happens again. No? Okay. Now let's start over. Let's reconnect these signals. Death timer. Fall timer. Explode timer. All right. So now the death timer goes off. And the first thing we do is we change the life state to life state falling. And we emit our signal. And we start the next timer. So that's going to be falling timer. Fall timer. Fall timer. And this is the point where we want to release the flight stick forcibly. And let's do that right away. Okay, so we forcibly release the flight stick. This is when we start falling. Then once the fall timer is done, then we change our life state to exploding. And we're going to, at this point, spawn an explosion and hide the player. I don't necessarily know that we want to completely despawn the player. That's probably not a good idea. I'm actually trying to figure out how we're going to reattach the XR origin to the player. We might change the way we're doing some of this once we get to the point where we're like restarting the game. But let's just keep plowing forward for now. Start the fall timer. Fall timer, switch to exploding. So then here we to do spawn explosion and hide player and hide plane. Hide plane. And then we are going to start the last timer. Exploding or explode timer? What did we call it? Explode timer. And then we get to the last life state of game over. And we emit it. Oh, and I forgot to emit this one. Okay. So we wait a second, we fall, explode. Let's do the explosion right away because it should be simple. We already have oh, and we should make the plane smoke the same way we make the enemies smoke. Okay, here let's go look at the enemy hurt effect, smoke effect, explosion. So these are currently in the enemy folder. If we're going to use them for both the plane and the enemy, I should move them. But for now, let's just copy them. Smoke effect, explosion, we don't need projectile. And let's go see how they are used in the enemy script. So smoke effect. We just instantiate it and add it. Why get, oh yeah, get parent of this and add it. I just don't entirely understand why we don't just add it to itself. Yeah, that's a little weird. So how does the enemy scene look? So the enemy scene's here. Why do we add the smoke to the parent of the enemy? And we're hanging on to a copy of this. Oh, interesting. So we're adding it to the parent and then making it follow the enemy? It's a little weird. We can do it. It's fine. Just don't know why I didn't just add it to itself and then it would move automatically with the enemy. Let's go look at the smoke effect once. Well, let's just do it this way for now. I can investigate this later. There has to be some reason that I did it this way. So, stash a smoke effect. And we're going to start the smoke effect. I guess probably when we're falling. So when we switch to falling, we're going to say smoke effect equals smoke effect instantiate. And we're going to say, for some reason, get parent, add child, smoke effect. Oh, I wonder if it was to keep the smoke around after they explode? Because that kind of makes sense. Because the enemy will be gone, but the smoke effect was, I don't know. We'll need to add a process function. Say if smoke effect, no. Smoke effect global position equals our global position. And then after we've exploded, we're gonna clean up the smoke effect. Smoke effect. Then smoke effect Q free. Smoke effect equals no. Do we do? It does seem sort of okay. It does seem like it could be disruptive to suddenly remove the smoke. Yeah. Okay. So we have a finish effect. And what does that do in the end? It cleans itself up? It does. Okay. So that's why we're keeping it separate. So that we can have the smoke sort of fade away wherever it was left. So on explode timer, let's say if smoke effect, finish effect. And then we clear this out. Hello, Nyanel. It's been a long time since I've seen you on the stream. How's it going? We're going to spawn our explosion. Let's see how that's done in the enemy. Yeah, okay, we'll just take this code. And we will spawn the explosion. Say visible equals false. I guess position works fine because its parent is us, right? Yeah. Maybe I can use that in the other place too. It is, Chesh. Busy lately. How are you doing with VR and networking? You're doing so much for Godot. That is nuts. Thanks. That is really nice of you to say. Yeah, things have been going good. I started working on, it was announced right before GDC that W4 Games is doing a project for Meta to improve Godot's support for VR in general, but also the Quest headsets. And so that's what I've been doing at W4. I'm no longer working on the cloud team, no longer doing networking stuff with them. The cloud team, of course, is still chugging on and doing amazing work. And the cloud stuff is looking really, really good. But for me, it just means I'm working on VR every day, which is very, very exciting. Okay, so this should explode. This plane should explode. Let's explode this plane. Wait a second. Whoa, that didn't work. We shouldn't be spinning like that. I'm glad I didn't try that in VR first. Oh, you know what it is? We changed the signal that detaches the the player from the plane. I am so glad that we have the that we have the non-VR mode. That would have destroyed me. All right, so player state changed. State, and then this is, we'll just leave it like that, and we'll say, do we have the player or the plane script pulled in here? We do not. Let's do that so we can access the enum. So I'll say const plane equals preload res something or other. Get me to the plane. By plane. Where's the plane script? Here we go. So then we could say if state equals plane life state falling, then we do this stuff, which will detach the detach the player from the plane so no one throws up, ideally. Oh, you're doing a plane game? That's awesome. Plane cannot have the same name as a built-in type. Oh, because it's the name of a plane, like a mathematical plane. All right. Well, let's fix that. We'll call this plane script. There you go. Problem solved. You also have a biplane. I'd love to see what you're working on, 9L. Yeah. Whoa, okay, the smoke starts, and I can't even see the plane. The plane is invisible, and the smoke takes a really long time to go away. I didn't see the explosion either. Okay, let's disable the smoke for a second, so we can get an idea of what's going on. I think we may need to make a different smoke, a different particle system for when the plane is the thing exploding, because the enemies, when they explode really far away. We really kind of overdo the smoke close up, or maybe we just delay the start of it. We start smoking a little bit later. All right, so what was I going to do? I was going to disable the smoke. And give this a try. It does explode quite nicely. I like the explosion. The smoke needs to be handled somehow. Or maybe we move the smoke location? We could add a point on the plane where the smoke comes out, and maybe the gun. We'll have the smoke come out of the gun's position. So we'll say smoke effect, add child, and then say smoke effect global position equals gun global position, and then we do that up here as well. See if that maybe looks a little better. That looks a little better. I mean, I wasn't paying as much attention as I should have. Ooh, the smoke takes a long time to go away. I'm not sure about that. Sorry, I was reading 9L's thing. So your goal is to do a physicsy thing. That's cool. In Polish, we say płaszczyzna. Samolot for a flying thingy. Also have aircraft. Yeah, language is fun. Yeah, that's crazy. So I'm not doing anything with physics. This is my thing is like full arcadey. There's no real physics going on. It's just I don't know. I guess using the plane kind of as window dressing. But that's really interesting that you're also doing a biplane. All right, let me try. Oops, I didn't mean to run it here. Let me try this in VR and see how weird or good or what it is there. Oh, and because the plane is still there but just hidden, the enemy still shoots at it. We're gonna have to have some enemy behavior for after the player dies. I don't know exactly what that should be. All right, here it comes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The smoke is too much. The smoke is just too much. It needs some work. So I think, yeah, we'll copy the smoke effect and make our own version of it. Biplanes are cool. How'd you make the clouds? Just random spheres spawning randomly? So I've done several iterations of the clouds. Even did some of that work on stream. But yeah, it's a single model that I made in Blender with metaballs. So the kind of, you put these balls close to each other and they make those kind of curved connections in between them. And then it's just spawning a whole bunch of them of like slightly various sizes using GPU particles. And then a custom like particle shader in order to do the movement to simulate the plane moving. I need to take a quick break, guys. I need to run to the bathroom, but I will be back in just 1 minute. All right, sorry about that. I am back, and let's make this smoke effect a little better. I wonder actually if we can take this smoke effect and make it like adjustable in some way. So let's look at the. So we could just use the same scene, but like make some adjustments to it. If I scale the smoke effect, will it scale the particles? My guess is that it won't, but let's try it. Did that do anything? Couldn't tell. Let's go really small. It did something, but not what I wanted. The particles themselves have stayed the same size. It just seems like it's sending them out less far. So that's not what I want. Let's mess with the particles themselves. So we're emitting 16 particles. The lifetime of 1 second. I mean, I think what I want is just for them to be less thick. Also, I would be interested to see what it looks like if I spawned them slightly earlier. Like, let's say, as soon as we get to here, we spawn the smoke effect. So as soon as HB hits 0, we start emitting them. So I guess I would put that up there. So we're having them spawn from where the gun is located, and so that should be slightly in front of the player. It's still like so overpowering. Oh my god. Why is that smoke so intense? Let's look at its material. Has transparency. Billboard. Particle billboard. If we did fewer particles, is it less intense? I'm gonna have to remember I'm changing the enemy smoke too. I need to copy this if I'm gonna copy it, or what am I doing? No, it's just too big, maybe? I mean, fewer particles did seem to make it slightly better, but... And how long? We have the finish timer. Wait 1 second. I mean, I guess, yeah, that's the lifetime of the particles. I mean, maybe just shrink the size of the particles? Can you do transparency? I mean, I can do transparency. It's a little bit better. I guess what do you mean by can you do transparency in regard to what? I mean, I guess I try to avoid transparency wherever possible. In this case, like with these particles, I have to use transparency because it's a square, you know, mesh, and I need to have the rounded edges or whatever. Or do you mean make these a little bit more transparent so you see what's behind them? I mean, I guess that's fine because I already have transparency enabled on these particles because I don't have a choice. So it wouldn't be making it any worse. So I guess that would be in the albedo color of the material. If we brought the alpha down a little bit. Making the smoke texture transparent, not the background textures. Yeah. Okay, I got you now. I got there eventually. Okay, so we'll try this. We'll try with the semi-transparent. I wonder how that would look on the enemies too. Like maybe it's worth putting that on the enemies as well. Okay, that is much better. That was a great idea, 9L. Great idea. It still stays around for way too long. Why does it stay around for so long? So what happens when we call finish? So, okay, finish effect, we change emitting to false, we start the finish timer, and then we queue free. Why does it still take so long? It should only take 1 second. All right, let's go to our smoke effect. And let's set some of those settings back that I was messing with. So this was originally 20 by 20 meters, because that looked good for the enemies at the distance they were. If it looks good for the player too, though, then we can just use the exact same smoke effect. We don't have to change anything. I mean... We could make that configurable. We could make that part configurable, though. We could change the size. I'm gonna see what it looks like in VR. Hey, Gamma Games, welcome to the stream. Psh, being conscious of performance costs. Yeah, when you're doing standalone headset, it's essentially mobile. It's essentially a mobile device, so you have to think in those terms. So always have to think about the performance cost. Yay, first time being useful. I don't think it's the first time you've been useful, 9L. You've participated a whole bunch in the streams before. I'm sure you've been useful before. Been playing around with particles and VFX a bit before trying to make my comet shader cool. Really like the clouds. Thanks. Yeah, the clouds, I'm still not 100% happy with them. not less from a visual perspective and more from a gameplay perspective, because I want the player to know, like, quickly and easily that they're constrained to this kind of box that they have to move within. And I've tried a number of things to do that, and I don't think I'm quite there yet. I think the clouds still need a little bit of tweaking to get the right, like, gameplay idea for them. But the appearance-wise, I think, like, it's totally on the right track, for sure. Yeah. I mean, it is all this, or actually no, it's two separate meshes. It's a mesh that I'm using on the top and a mesh that I'm using on the side. Something I've been thinking about is, rather than making these like 4 lanes of clouds coming at the player, oh, I'm sure the sound is annoying. Let me turn that off. Rather than having these 4 lanes coming at the player, to instead build a circle around the player and then spawn different particles of this circle and like maybe rotate them to make it look like it's a tunnel rather than this. That's one idea I've had to try and fix the gameplay problem here, but I don't know. It's a work in progress. Size, shape, maybe they don't have to be perfect spheres. Not sure how metaballs work. Basically variation. Yeah, and I did mess with them a little bit. They are not all the same size. There is a little bit of variation in there, but again, it's a work in progress. By the way, trivia. Do you know how much IRL clouds weigh? I mean, I imagine a lot. Like, because there's all that water falling out of the sky when it rains. I mean, I don't know. How much do they weigh? What was I doing? What was the next thing I was going to try? Oh, I was just going to see what this looks like in VR, to see if it's too much or if it's a good amount. A typical cloud weighs around 1,000,000 tons. Yeah, that's a lot. You restart casting here so you guys can see. Oh, I love the explosion sound. The clouds just hang around forever. All right, you guys probably didn't see that because it was probably still getting casting going. So let's deploy it again. All right, we see you shooting. Okay, here we go. All right, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then it just goes totally black. I don't know. That might be okay. Let me try reducing its size and see how that feels in VR. It would be kind of nice if like the smoke effect built up, like it wasn't full bore immediately, you know? Let's try reducing these to the 10 meters and give this a shot. Hey Adam, welcome to the stream. All right, just waiting for this to deploy to the headset. But yeah, would you believe that? It's water indeed, but it's scattered, mostly being like a mist. Yeah, that is crazy. The weight of a cloud. All right. 1, 2, 3, 4. Blinking. Explode. So that is just objectively better. Having those be 10 meters is objectively better. And I don't know why that smoke just hangs around like that. It actually would be kind of better if the plane continued to fall. All right, so here's what we're going to do. this smoke effect is going to get a property for its size. And, oh, I should also see how the smoke looks on the enemies. Okay, I have too many things I want to change at once. What to change first? The smoke stays because of the lifetime. No, there's a timer. I call a finish timer, and then it is supposed to fade it away. I wonder if I'm not calling it early enough? Let me check that. So, oh yeah. I think this needs to be moved up one. Yeah, so that's worth trying. Let's just see how this looks. We'll do it in non-VR. Yeah, that faded away definitely better. Okay, so I think we've solved the fading away problem. I guess let's see how this looks with the smaller size on the enemies. I've always liked the way the smoke looks on the enemies, so I'm a little reluctant to change it. Let me see. Test level. We'll blow up some enemies and see how that looks. All right, just waiting for it to deploy to the headset. All right, let's go blow some dudes up. Ooh, okay, this is the wrong level, but... Oh, it's just not good. It is just not good. No, the effect was so much better before. Okay, so we're gonna need a different smoke effect for the player and the enemy. I think we might be able to share the script. So that's something. Let's well, let's just copy the script anyway. Move duplicate to. Let's I guess say copy to player. We'll paste it. Did that not work? Why don't I see it here? ET root is not valid. Check its configuration. So I have to do this. Okay, choose a directory. I want to copy files to objects player. That work? Okay, that time it worked. All right, so this should have the right settings. I changed that on the... Where did I make these changes? I made the size change on the draw pass. So this one will be make unique. And I made the transparency change on the material. Is that in the draw pass? Where's the material? Drawing. Process material. Here's the material. Okay, and here's where I change the albedo. So I need to do this one, make unique. And we have to detach this script and then attach a script again. So it's attached to the copy that we made rather than staying attached to the old one. No, Godot. Oh, thought it crashed. Okay. So we saved that. And we're going to go to our player, our plane script, and we can take the smoke effect from here. I think that's the folder. And then now I should be able to use Git to revert the enemy smoke effect to the way it used to be. Let's add objects, player, smoke effect. And then let's look at the changes in the enemy smoke effect, just to make sure I didn't miss any. Yeah, it was just those two changes. So let's check this out. Reverting it to how it used to be. And I guess let's just add all this stuff. So now I would like to reload, I guess. That looks wrong. Let's open up enemy smoke effect. Oh, I'm so confused right now. So this is, which smoke effect is this? Player smoke effect. And this one has the draw pass size of 10 by 10 and the albedo color, which includes the alpha. And then if I go to this smoke effect, enemy smoke effect, it has the wrong stuff. Okay, let's hit make unique on these things again. And it should be 20 by 20. And the material down here, which we're going to make unique again, should have an albedo with no transparency. Okay, we go over here. This one still looks like this. And the other one, wherever it went, it's disappeared. Here, looks like this. Okay. So let me go shoot some enemies, make sure that their smoke still looks good. Have you ever done web dev before you jumped into game dev? Yes. I still do some amount of web dev. But yeah, for like the 10 previous years in my career, I worked primarily on Drupal, which is an open source CMS for building websites. Whoa, that's not how that's supposed to work at all. What is going on? We broke everything. It has spawned so many enemies, I'm getting like a ridiculous frame rate. But I don't know why it suddenly started spawning all those enemies. Okay, let's switch away from this test. Oh, I spawned the level inside of itself. That's not right. All right, let's level 01. You share with the stack you worked in with. Yeah, so Drupal's built on PHP and JavaScript, of course, because JavaScript is in everything web development. But yeah, PHP on the back end. Drupal's based on the Symfony framework. So that particular branch of the PHP community. All right, let's blow some stuff up. Yeah, no, that looks good. Okay, so that looks good for the enemies. Let's switch back to our other test scene and make sure that this still looks good for when the player's plane explodes. And that was health test. Why are you shooting at me? I don't got no plane. Okay, here we go. Okay, he's gonna shoot me. Missed me. Okay, I'll just let him shoot me. I'm kind of curious what happens if I'm turning as the plane explodes, but then we get a little bit of smoke, and then it goes down. Oh, it's good, guys. It's good. That really does work. That's really good. Um, let me try it again, and I just want to see what happens if I am actively turning the plane as it explodes. How are we doing on time? Oh my gosh, we have 5 minutes. We never even got around to doing the aiming reticle. Okay, well I'm holding the flight stick while I'm getting shot here. And then on the last one, I'm turning the plane. Oh, and I got detached from it and everything. Oh, worked exactly as expected. That is awesome. Okay. Let's commit some stuff, because this is good. This is good. I don't want to keep on the health test. I'm going to switch this back to the original level 1 for committing. And let's see. So, level 1. That all seems good in main. And then smoke effect. The ID's changed, but otherwise everything looks the same. Okay, so we can add this stuff. Let's look at... Oh, one more thing. The explosion is now being used for both the enemies and the player, which I think means we should move it out of the enemy directory. So we have enemy level player. Let's go into enemy, grab explosion, and we are going to drag this up just into objects. And we're going to have to update some code in both the enemy and plane scripts to grab just explosion. Hurt effect. What is hurt effect? I don't even remember that. So every time we're... Oh, it's like the sparks that come off when you hit the enemy. Okay. Adam, thanks for stopping by. Yeah. Always good to chat with you and have you around. I'm sure we'll be seeing each other soon. Okay, let's just make sure that the game doesn't break after moving that stuff around. I'll blow up some enemies. I will let myself get destroyed. Then we'll commit and call it a stream. And I guess to finish selling the idea of the player exploding, the player dying, we're going to need to add the parachute and the ejection sound effect. We'll kill these guys until we get to the wave where they actually fire back. What, did I get that guy, or does he live? I can't tell. Oh, here comes the next wave. Come on. I can't aim for anything. I don't think I'm going to clear these guys. If I can clear them out, the next wave will come a little bit earlier than it would if they escape. No, I think I got them. All right. Now will come the wave that I didn't miss anyone. Okay, here comes the next wave, and then they will be able to fire back. So I guess I shouldn't kill too many of them because I need them to attack me. Well, how'd these guys get all jumbled up like that? All right, here comes some hits. All right, one hit. Oop, there we go. All right, one more hit, guys. Hit me one more time. That is so good. Oh my god. Whoa, how did those guys die? Oh, they're freaking out because they're still trying to attack me, and none of the AI works when my plane is hovering over there. That's hilarious. All right. Did you model the biplane yourself? No. So I modeled quite a lot in here myself at this point, but the biplane started as a free asset that I modified. The biplane, the original biplane, did not have a cockpit. It had just a drawn-on window on top, so I had to model out the cockpit. There was also some flipped normals and like intersecting polygons and stuff that I had to fix, and then everything in the cockpit, all of this stuff, and the flight stick, which you can't see here because I have it hidden. I modeled all of that. So the body, the majority of the body of the plane, I did not model, but I have heavily tweaked it. The enemies I modeled, the clouds I modeled. So really, just like the body of the biplane is the main thing that I didn't model. Oh, and I like repainted the textures a bit on here too. Anyway, it's slowly becoming more and more my model. All right, let's commit this stuff. Ooh, what did I change that many things? Oh yeah, because I moved some stuff around. All right. First pass at player death. And the plane exploding. All right. Well, thanks everyone for coming to the stream. It was super fun. It's always good to explode things. I'm a little sorry that we didn't get to actually try and work on the sight or aiming reticle, given that we spent so much time talking about it at the beginning. But perhaps we'll get to that next time, or I will have just done some of my own work between now and then, and we'll be able to kind of go through that together again. In any case, I hope that you all have a great weekend, and yeah, take care. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.